There's one island that has like this crazy hole in the ground that was made by pirates.
Curse of Oak Island.
Crazy hole in the ground.
Right.
Joe Rogan just opened up about a new discovery on Oak Island, adding another chapter to a mystery that has captivated treasure hunters for over 200 years. The famous Money Pit, first discovered in 1795 when Daniel McInness was exploring the island with his friends, attempting to solve its enigma. However, a recent discovery has reignited interest in the island's secrets. This revelation on Joe Rogan's podcast has once again thrust Oak Island into the spotlight. And trust me, once you hear what they found, you'll stay locked in till the final second. Joe Rogan's revelation, what he really said. Recent chatter online exploded when snippets of conversation from the Joe Rogan Experience suggested a breakthrough regarding Oak Island's centuries-old mystery. The controversial podcast host's discussion has sparked renewed interest in a legend that refuses to fade away. The fateful episode featured Rogan in conversation with an archaeologist and a historian specializing in pre-colonial North American settlements. For 3 hours, the trio examined evidence suggesting human activity on Oak Island long before the infamous Money Pit discovery. During the lengthy discussion, Rogan asked probing questions about the artifacts mentioned in historical records. The conversation took a fascinating turn when his guests presented photographic evidence of recently uncovered items. Rogan, known for his genuine curiosity, leaned forward with visible interest as they explained the significance of these findings. "This changes everything we thought we knew about Oak Island," Rogan remarked during the episode, visibly stunned by what his guests revealed. The discussion delved into detailed analysis of the artifact's origin, authenticity, and historical context. What made this episode particularly compelling was Rogan's willingness to examine multiple perspectives. While maintaining healthy skepticism, he allowed his guests to present their evidence without immediate dismissal, a hallmark of his interviewing style that has earned him millions of loyal listeners. Throughout the conversation, Rogan repeatedly referenced what he called forbidden historical narratives, theories about human history that challenge conventional understanding. Specifically regarding Oak Island, he questioned why certain discoveries have received minimal mainstream attention. "There's something about this place that makes people nervous," Rogan suggested. "Whenever concrete evidence emerges, it mysteriously disappears or gets buried in academic journals nobody reads." Rogan's most compelling statements centered around 4 main areas. Firstly, the potential connection between Knights Templar symbolism and structures found on the island. Secondly, evidence suggesting advanced engineering knowledge used in the creation of the Money Pit. Also, discrepancies in historical records about who actually discovered the island. And finally, the unusual interest governmental agencies have shown in private excavation efforts. Naturally, Rogan was careful to frame these discussions as theories rather than established facts. Nevertheless, his platform amplified these ideas to an audience of millions, many of whom began conducting their own research after the episode aired. The impact of Rogan's discussion extended far beyond his immediate audience. Within days, social media platforms experienced an explosion of Oak Island content. Reddit threads analyzing every minute of the episode garnered thousands of comments, while YouTube channels dedicated to historical mysteries saw viewership spike dramatically. Furthermore, the timing of Rogan's podcast coincided with the announcement of new archaeological permits being granted for additional Oak Island excavations. This perfect storm of mainstream attention and actual field developments created unprecedented interest in the mystery. What makes Rogan's influence particularly powerful is his unique position in media. With an estimated 11 million listeners per episode, his reach exceeds many traditional news outlets. When he expresses interest in a topic, it immediately gains cultural relevance among diverse demographic groups who might otherwise never encounter such historical mysteries. Tourism officials in Nova Scotia reported a 30% increase in inquiries about Oak Island tours in the weeks following the podcast. Additionally, academic institutions noticed a surge in applications for archaeology programs, with several applicants specifically mentioning the Rogan episode in their personal statements. The conversation reminded many of why the Oak Island mystery has endured for generations. It combines historical intrigue, engineering puzzles, and the timeless allure of buried treasure. And perhaps the real question lingering underneath it all was this: why has this mystery refused to die, no matter how many decades pass? That curiosity sparked something bigger than anyone expected. Soon, a whole new generation of treasure hunters and history lovers returned to the island, armed with modern technology and a renewed determination to crack what Rogan famously called one of history's most persistent puzzles. And trust me, what comes next is worth watching till the very end. The origins of the Oak Island legend. The fascinating Oak Island legend began more than 2 centuries ago, with differing accounts of its discovery creating a mystery within a mystery. Behind every treasure hunt lies an origin story that has morphed over generations, becoming almost as intriguing as the hunt itself. Contrary to popular tellings, the true identity of the Money Pit's discoverer reveals surprising details. Although often portrayed as a teenager named Daniel McInness, historical records indicate he was actually Donald McInness, a 37-year-old Scottish immigrant who had already been living on Oak Island since 1786. Far from being a chance explorer, McInness had an interesting background. He was a loyalist who fled to Nova Scotia after losing everything during the American Revolution, first landing in the Bahamas, a former piracy hotbed, before settling in Nova Scotia. The discovery itself happened in 1795, although accounts vary on what exactly McInness found. According to most versions, he noticed a depression in the ground beneath an oak tree, with an old block and tackle hanging nearby, equipment typically used for lowering heavy objects. Along with 2 companions, John Smith, who owned the lot where the pit was found, and possibly Anthony Vaughan, they began digging at the site. What they uncovered initially fueled centuries of speculation. At just 2 feet down, they discovered a layer of flagstones. As they dug deeper, they found oak platforms approximately every 10 feet, with tool marks visible on the pit walls and soil that appeared noticeably looser than the surrounding earth. Eventually, they reached about 30 feet before abandoning the excavation, either from exhaustion or what some accounts describe as superstitious dread. The story gained momentum around 1802, when the Onslow Company conducted the first organized expedition to recover what they believed to be hidden treasure. They continued excavation down to approximately 90 feet, finding additional log platforms at regular intervals alongside layers of charcoal putty and, most curiously, coconut fiber, which was particularly strange since coconuts don't grow anywhere within 900 miles of Nova Scotia. Perhaps the most compelling discovery was a stone allegedly found at the 90-foot level inscribed with mysterious symbols. This stone became central to the evolving legend. In the 1860s, a professor from Dalhousie University supposedly translated these markings as a substitution cipher reading, 40 feet below 2 million pounds are buried. Yet another translation in the 1970s interpreted it as a Coptic Christian warning. The Onslow team continued digging to 98 feet, where they reportedly encountered what sounded like a hollow container, presumed to be a treasure vault. After stopping work for the evening, they returned the next morning to find the pit filled with 60 feet of water, apparently triggering some sort of booby trap. The flooding thwarted their efforts, ultimately leading to the company's dissolution in 1805. Remarkably, the first published account of these events didn't appear until October 1857, over 60 years after the initial discovery, when the Liverpool transcript mentioned a group digging for Captain Kidd's treasure on Oak Island. This was followed by Anthony Vaughan's memories being recorded in 1862, which helped cement the narrative in public consciousness. Throughout the 19th century, various companies attempted excavations with similar results, promising findings, followed by mysterious flooding. The Truro Company, formed in 1849, used a horse-driven pod auger to collect samples from below the flood level, allegedly retrieving fragments of wood, loose metal pieces, and possibly even links of gold chain. The legend's persistence led to subsequent expeditions in 1861, 1866, 1893, 1909, 1931, 1935, 1936, and 1959. Each attempt added new elements to the story, from theories about elaborate flood tunnel systems to connections with Templars, Freemasons, and pirate treasures. By the 20th century, Oak Island had attracted prominent figures, including Franklin D. Roosevelt, who was a member of the Old Gold Salvage Group. The island's mysteries gained wider public attention with a 1928 New York newspaper feature and a 1965 Reader's Digest article. Over 2 centuries, what began as a simple discovery has evolved into one of the world's most enduring mysteries, spawning countless theories about its origin, from pirate treasure to religious artifacts to natural geological phenomena. Here's a 100-word, humanized transitional hook that keeps viewers glued till the very end, and smoothly leads into the subheading Lot 5, Discovery. And perhaps the real question lingering underneath it all was this: why does a single conversation have the power to shake people so deeply? That's where the rich historical backdrop comes in, because it explains exactly why Joe Rogan's recent discussion struck a nerve across the world. People aren't just listening. They're connecting dots, revisiting old mysteries, and wondering what else has been overlooked. And just when you think the story can't get any more layered, a new twist emerges. So stay with me till the very end, because the Lot 5 discovery changes the entire conversation in a way no one saw coming. Lot 5 discovery. The excavation of Lot 5 has dramatically shifted the timeline of Oak Island's mystery, presenting compelling evidence that the story began much earlier than previously thought. Unlike the scattered findings elsewhere on the island, Lot 5 has yielded a concentrated collection of artifacts that tell a cohesive story about who might have been there and why. Among the most significant discoveries on Lot 5 is a circular depression with a diameter of 13 feet, exactly matching the reported size of the original money pit discovered in 1795. This feature near the shoreline represents one of the most mysterious constructs on the island. Moreover, the team uncovered a rectangular foundation that archaeologists determined was purposely buried by someone. This wasn't merely abandoned, it was deliberately concealed, suggesting whoever built it wanted to hide evidence of their presence.
I do believe that material, whatever was contained within it, has fallen to a far greater depth. To what side and what cardinal direction, we don't know.
The artifacts recovered from this area tell an even more fascinating story. 1. A Roman half-coin dating to approximately 300 BC, unearthed by Gary Drayton and Rick Lagina near the center of Lot 5. Next, a laid barter token with scalloped edges found near the circular depression. Also, a trade weight containing arsenical bronze, a metallurgical compound whose use ceased after 1500 AD, making the artifact at least 500 years old. Early 18th century pottery fragments within the circular depression. And finally, gun-related artifacts, including musket balls and a rifle ramrod guide dating to the 17th century. Notably, The archaeological team discovered a glass bead associated with the pit structure on Lot 5. Based on its manufacturing process, shape, and decoration, it appears to be what experts classify as Type 2B31, a bead type found in sites dating between the 16th and 19th centuries. The truly revolutionary aspect of these findings is their age. The artifacts on Lot 5, particularly the gun parts, buttons, and clusters of 17th century glass and pottery, consistently date to between 1620 and 1680. This places human activity on Oak Island at least a century before Daniel McInness and his friends allegedly discovered the Money Pit in 1795. Previously, the Money Pit was considered the starting point of the Oak Island mystery. Yet these new discoveries suggest something entirely different. The Money Pit was merely one component of a much larger operation that began on Lot 5. The consistency of dating across multiple artifact types provides strong evidence that this wasn't random activity or later contamination. The presence of permanent structures indicates a sustained occupation rather than a brief visit. Those occupying the island were well organized and equipped, bringing with them weapons, tools, and various items necessary for an extended stay. Perhaps the most tantalizing aspect of the Lot 5 discoveries is their potential connection to the Knights Templar. The lead barter token found near the circular depression underwent laser ablation testing, which revealed it may be related to the 14th century French lead cross discovered at Smith's Cove in 2017. Equally intriguing, the excavation team found two ornate buttons that may be connected to the 17th century order known as the Knights of Malta, a religious order who, like the Portuguese Knights of Christ, descended from the Knights Templar after their official disbandment in 1307. Currently, the connection between the Templars and Oak Island relies primarily on symbology found on the island, and particularly on a lead Templar cross determined to be of medieval period and French origin. While skeptics point out that most Templar wealth was in land that was seized by the crown, some historians suggest that treasures from the most far-flung corners of their influence, particularly in England, Scotland, or the Holy Land, might have escaped confiscation. The archaeological evidence emerging from Lot 5 supports a theory that a highly organized group, possibly the Knights of Malta or another Templar descended order, arrived on this tiny island in the 16,000s. They weren't passing through but established a permanent base of operations for what appears to have been an extensive secret project. Theories that refuse to die. Throughout centuries of exploration and speculation, several prominent theories about Oak Island's mysteries have persisted, refusing to fade away regardless of scientific scrutiny. These enduring explanations continue to captivate researchers, with each gaining renewed attention after Joe Rogan's recent discussion. Among the most persistent theories is that Oak Island contains treasures hidden by the Knights Templar. This powerful organization operated between 1129 and 1312, becoming one of Europe's wealthiest orders before their downfall. When King Philip IV of France, deeply indebted to the Templars, ordered their arrest on Friday, October 13, 1307, followed by a papal decree commanding their assets be seized, legend suggests many knights fled to Scotland. Some researchers believe these escaping Templars brought priceless religious artifacts with them, including the Holy Grail from their sanctuary at the fortress of Montségur. Michael Bradley's book, Holy Grail Across the Atlantic, presents evidence supporting this theory. In contrast, critics point out there's no solid documentary evidence of Templars escaping Europe by ship, merely a single line extracted under torture from one knight, admitted by him to be rumor. Nonetheless, the theory persists, especially after researcher Zena Halpern claimed she possessed documents linking Templars to an island of oaks in northeastern America between 1178 to 1180 regarding the Ark of the Covenant specifically, this connection only emerged in the 1990s as a substitute for earlier associations with the Holy Grail.
For all the places marked on the Xena helper map that showed a hatch, valve, etc. We have looked at every one of those places, but not in a definitive sense.
Recent investigations suggest the swamp on Oak Island was initiated in 1220 AD, potentially aligning with Templar activity. Another fascinating theory suggests Oak Island contains lost manuscripts proving Sir Francis Bacon authored works attributed to Shakespeare. This hypothesis stems from arguments that Shakespeare's humble origins meant he lacked the education, insider knowledge of royal court operations, and understanding of etiquette to have written his celebrated plays. The connection strengthened when team member Craig Tester questioned whether a book binding found on the island might belong to Shakespeare's lost manuscripts. In his 1953 book, The Oak Island Enigma, Penn Leary proposed the pit was used to hide manuscripts indicating Bacon's authorship of Shakespeare's works. Most Shakespeare scholars reject these claims, noting that nobody questioned Shakespeare's authorship during his lifetime or for hundreds of years afterward. Yet proponents maintain that if Bacon did hide manuscripts on Oak Island, proving his authorship, such evidence would shock the literary world to its core and rewrite a large part of the history of the English language. Perhaps the oldest theory is that Oak Island contains pirate treasure, particularly that of Captain William Kidd. This was indeed the earliest hypothesis about the money pit. According to legend, a dying sailor who claimed to have sailed with Kidd confessed to helping bury $4 million in gold on a secluded island east of Boston. Yet skeptics highlight that Kidd spent minimal time near Nova Scotia, suggesting he couldn't have devoted sufficient time to construct the elaborate money pit. Still, proponents note that before Kidd's 1699 arrest in Boston, he spent several years pirating the East Indies, potentially steering north before returning to port, giving him ample opportunity to conceal treasure. Beyond Kidd, some theorists propose Oak Island served as a communal pirate bank, beginning around 1625, with buccaneers from Port Royal, Jamaica, including Sir Henry Morgan and others, potentially using the sheltered location as a collective treasure stash. Critics note pirates weren't known for saving their plunder. Plus, the money pit shows evidence of military precision and organization atypical of pirate operations. Still, the pirate theory remains firmly embedded in Oak Island lore, with Blackbeard's claim of burying treasure where none but Satan and myself can find it, keeping treasure hunters intrigued through centuries. The role of technology in the hunt. The search for Oak Island's secrets has evolved from shovels and pickaxes to a high-tech treasure hunt employing cutting-edge scientific methods. Modern explorers now peer beneath the earth using advanced equipment that would have seemed like magic to the island's first treasure hunters. Advanced imaging technologies have fundamentally changed how teams explore Oak Island's mysteries. Ground-penetrating radar, GPR, functions as a subterranean scanner, emitting electromagnetic energy into the ground that bounces back when encountering objects. This technology has proven invaluable in mapping what lies beneath without destructive digging. GPR can measure depths from a few inches to thousands of feet, notes one expert source. And that impressive range has allowed exploration teams to uncover far more than anyone expected. Using this technology, researchers have detected buried roads hidden beneath the swamp, revealing pathways that suggest deliberate construction rather than natural formation. They've also found man-made post holes arranged in geometric patterns, hinting at structures or markers that once stood in precise alignment. Even more intriguing, GPR scans have revealed unknown tunnels running near the money pit area, raising new questions about who built them, why they were created, and what secrets still lie buried deep below the surface. Alongside GPR, sonar technology provides critical insights, particularly in flooded areas. When lowered into target areas, sonar transmits and receives acoustic energy signals to render high-definition images of submerged environments. In one remarkable instance, a side-scan sonar head lowered into the 10x borehole at 235 feet deep revealed what appeared to be a man-made chest, along with 2 additional tunnels and the possible presence of a human body. Furthermore, video enhancement technologies like ProHawk AI have dramatically improved visibility in murky underwater conditions. Marty Lagina's reaction to seeing ProHawk's transformed footage was simply, wow, as dark, murky images from seawater-filled tunnels became crystal clear. This enhanced visibility led to the discovery of new artifacts that may pinpoint the original money pit location. Perhaps the most revolutionary technology deployed on Oak Island is muon tomography, a method that essentially X-rays the Earth using cosmic radiation. Vancouver-based Ideon Technologies has installed their Discovery platform on the island, using energy from supernova explosions in space to provide X-ray-like imaging beneath the Earth's surface. This remarkable system creates 3D density maps of features up to 1 kilometer underground. Currently, more than a dozen muon detectors positioned across Oak Island continuously stream data back to Ideon's laboratories. The results have been stunning. Muon tomography has revealed 3 significant underground targets in the Money Pit area, including a high-density anomaly at 65 feet below the surface, another at 112 feet matching a mysterious tunnel, and a significant high-density anomaly 230 feet underground. Most intriguingly, it detected a low-density void nicknamed Aladdin's Cave, approximately 30 feet long and 12 feet wide, with a 20-foot tendril extending from it. The technological revolution has transformed Oak Island from a site of speculative digging to a scientifically mapped exploration zone. Today's treasure hunters employ a comprehensive suite of analytical tools. These scientific approaches have yielded tangible results, with geochemical analysis of water samples from boreholes showing trace amounts of gold and silver with no natural source, suggesting metal corrosion from concentrated deposits. They're throwing every bit of science and technology they can at the island, explains historian Charles Barkhouse. And perhaps the real question lingering underneath it all was this: if so much had already been uncovered, what else was still being quietly hidden? This methodical approach didn't just scrape the surface, it exposed anomalous underground structures, strange geophysical signatures, and metal objects buried deep below, along with hints of man-made tunnels that earlier explorers could never have detected. With every new discovery, the mystery grew heavier, almost as if someone didn't want the full truth coming out. And that's where things take a darker turn, because now we enter the government secrecy angle. Stay with me till the very end. The government secrecy angle. Conspiracy theories often accompany long-standing mysteries, and Oak Island's enigma has attracted government interest that raises eyebrows among researchers. Beyond the technical challenges of excavation, some believe powerful institutions may be deliberately obscuring discoveries found on this remote Nova Scotian island. Rumors persist about unusual government activity surrounding Oak Island. Visitors and local residents have reported seeing unmarked vehicles and personnel near excavation sites, fueling speculation about official oversight of the treasure hunt. These accounts, albeit difficult to verify independently, have become part of the island's modern mythology. Some theorists propose that Oak Island could contain artifacts or technology with national security implications. This perspective suggests powerful entities might intervene to prevent certain discoveries from reaching public awareness. a theme Joe Rogan touched upon during his podcast discussions about the island. The idea that Oak Island's secrets might be known to certain governments, yet deliberately kept hidden from the public, has gained traction among conspiracy theorists. Proponents suggest that powerful entities might suppress discoveries to avoid upheaval, such as proof of advanced ancient technology or world-altering artifacts. This theory parallels documented cases of government classification practices. Declassified memos reveal that intelligence agencies have historically employed strategies of public debunking as cover for classified research programs. Critics of government transparency point to patterns where agencies initially deny the existence of records only to later acknowledge them after appeals. On his influential podcast, Joe Rogan proposed an alternative theory about Oak Island that challenges conventional treasure narratives. Instead of containing riches, he suggested the money pit might actually be a deadly trap designed to lure treasure hunters to their doom, pointing to the many lives lost in pursuit of the elusive fortune. Rogan highlighted how the island's traps and flood tunnels were ingeniously crafted, possibly to make retrieving any treasure completely impossible. Nevertheless, he speculated that perhaps the creators of these defenses made a crucial mistake, one that might someday allow someone to finally reach whatever lies beneath. His warnings about forbidden historical narratives and questioning why certain discoveries receive minimal mainstream attention resonates with many listeners who believe governmental or institutional forces may have vested interests in keeping certain historical truths hidden from public view. What if Rogan is right? Speculation runs rampant about what might happen if the mysterious depths of Oak Island reveal secrets beyond monetary treasure. The implications stretch far beyond simple wealth into areas that could fundamentally alter our understanding of human history.
We've invested a lot of time and energy delineating this tunnel, and I think there's great anticipation on everyone's part to try to, well, not only to put eyes on it, but to see where it may lead.
Supposing the Oak Island puzzle contains evidence of ancient visitors predating Columbus, the ripple effects would be enormous. Researchers have already suggested that Roman mariners might have reached Nova Scotia in the 2nd century AD or earlier. Such confirmation would necessitate rewriting historical narratives about who first crossed the Atlantic. Most compelling, though, would be the discovery of religious artifacts. If items like the Ark of the Covenant or ancient religious texts were uncovered, the foundations of major world faiths might face unprecedented scrutiny. Hence, institutions with vested interests in current historical frameworks might resist such revelations. Correspondingly, Rogan hinted at a much larger significance when he reportedly stated, "If they find what I think they found, it's not just treasure, it's a rewrite of who we are." The statement implies discoveries that could reset our understanding of human development and capabilities. Several researchers believe the Oak Island mystery represents the single most important discovery for the Americas. Fundamentally, confirmation of pre-Columbian European presence would require historians to reconsider established timelines. As one researcher noted, history is political on our side of the pond. The possibility exists that Oak Island contains evidence of sophisticated engineering knowledge that shouldn't have existed during the supposed time period. Given the complexity of the money pit's construction, with its elaborate flood tunnels and defensive mechanisms, some theorize it demonstrates technological capabilities beyond what history records. Primarily, this challenges conventional narratives about human technological progression. And perhaps the real question lingering underneath it all was this: if scientists insist the money pit is just a natural sinkhole, then who on earth had the skill and the reason to engineer something so advanced centuries ago? That single mystery kept echoing through every discussion, pulling people deeper into the story. And trust me, once you hear how the world reacted, you'll want to watch till the very end. Because what happened next sparked a full-blown public reaction and an internet frenzy. Public reaction and internet frenzy. The Oak Island mystery exploded across digital platforms following Joe Rogan's discussion, triggering both fervent belief and intense skepticism throughout online communities. On Reddit, communities quickly formed around analyzing every word from Rogan's episode. One subreddit, self-dubbed Oak Island Decoders, began meticulously comparing maps, symbols, and old excavation images. Simultaneously, skeptical Redditors warned curious newcomers that such videos were clickbait and completely waste your time. Multiple reports claiming the treasure has been found circulated for years, often AI-generated and demonstrably false. TikTok and social media platforms overflowed with humorous content about the never-ending hunt. One viral meme captured the sentiment, "Me, for the past 14 years, walking to my TV to watch hashtag Curse of Oak Island, knowing they won't find anything." In essence, Rogan's comments transformed into an echo chamber where treasure hunting became symbolic. They're not digging for gold. They're digging for forbidden truth. By comparison, serious debates emerged about why conspiracy theories flourish around Oak Island. One commentator pointed out that Oak Island is an ideal topic for the conspiracy theorist, given its few hard facts and no reliable sources. Ultimately, what began as a simple podcast conversation morphed into a global phenomenon where Joe Rogan, Oak Island, and John's Hidden Truth became top trends. With this, we have come to the end of this video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, do well to like, comment, and subscribe for more content. To enjoy more thrilling stories, click now on the following video that pops up on your screen.